Hi guys, my name is Abdurrahman Gilal. In this short video, I will be explaining you recursion using factorial example. So what is recursion? Recursion is a programming technique where a method or a function calls itself. So method, for instance, is main is a method, and when a main calls itself, so main is calling itself in its body, right? So how we gonna solve the factorial problem? Before we go and discuss about factorial problem, we should understand what is factorial problem is. So let's say in a mathematics, when we have a factor, what we do is that we multiply the number and we get the number like this. So when I said factorial of 2, I get it like 2 into 1. When I say factorial of 3, I multiply like this. And I get like 2 into 3 is called 6, and 6 into 1 is called 6 again. So this is how we go, and we can keep moving until the number reaches to 1. So every time we go, it has to go. Even the factorial of 1 is equals to 1, right? Because it will be dividing itself. But there is a mathematical thing that I will not be able to explain you in a better way, that the factorial of 0 is also 1. So whenever we have a situation that we have 0 or 1, for example, if I'm handling like if my number equals to 0, then it should be returning me 1. That's my consideration, right? Or if my number is 1, it also returns me the 1. That's what I'm gonna say, right? So sorry about this. Okay, so let me quickly jump out and explain you that how can we solve this using, you know, recursion technique. So we could do this the same thing by using loops, but I'm gonna use recursions. So let me first of all ask a number from user. That's what's your So I'm gonna say my user will pass me a number, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna take number from user from the console. That's why I have to take the system.in, and any number user give me, I have to make sure that I store it somewhere. So I'm gonna ask a user to give me the number. So I'm gonna say, please give me any integer, but should I print some message? It's always a good thing that you should print. Please enter positive number for factorial, for its factorial, right? Okay, so that's it. And then our number is done, and then I have to make a method. That method will basically call itself. So like, how can we solve this? Public static is my method because I don't want to make any object, and I'm gonna make a return of it. I can make long because it's gonna be a very, how to say, long mass number. It could be a very long, integer, so that it has to be computed in a better way. So let's say calculate factorial. That's my any number that I receive from the user, I will pass, you know, I will I will sorry about this. Okay. I will receive in here and in in X. So now I'm going to pass the number that has been given to me from the user. So it was number. So that's it. So I will print it out later on, but let me just show you that how I will work it here. So first thing is that we have to make sure that we have to have a base case. If we do not have a base case, then we will never be able to stop the calling of the method itself, because we understood in the last presentation that if a method, for example, if a main is calling a method, so it will not do anything else if it has finished the execution of the method. For example, I have a factorial function here, and if the factorial is calling the factorial again, so it will be like this, and it will never end until we add a situation called base case. So base case will help us to let the execution of adding method into the stack finish somewhere, and then once it's finished, so slowly every method will finish. It's on its way, but that will be considered a LIFO. That means last in and first out. right? So that's what we have to make sure that we are clear about before we start developing anything, okay? So now, so we have to add a base case. So I'm gonna say a number that I have received and x is equals to 0, as I said. So what should we do? We should do return to like 1. So when it's returned to 1, basically I am saying that every time the number is 0 factorial, so the program will return to 1, and that's it. And if it's not, then what should we do? So we have to now have a logic that we are going to make. So let's say if I say my number that I have received has to be actually calculated, sorry, has to be multiplied with itself. So I'm gonna say, sorry, not x minus 1. So let's say if I enter 2 here, so 2 is here, so 2 is not this number, so it will not return 1. So 2 into the calculate factorial will now multiply, sorry, minus 2 minus 1. So it's 1. So 1 is passed to here, and that is called, that is called x is equals to 0. No, it's not 0. So that will be just coming here, and then now it is 1, and then we'll see like how it works. So now it's ready, and then we just have to print this out. So how to print this? System dot out dot println, and that's all. So I would say the factorial of your number equals to, and that's it. So let's run it first and see, then I'll explain you how it works. So let's say if I say I wanted to see the factorial of 3, so it's 6, that's true. And if I wanted to see the factorial of 2, it should be 2, that's okay. So let's say if I wanted to, make the factorial of 4, so it's 24, that's all okay. So let's calculate and let's see like how it works. So first of all, we should come here. Let me open up my annotation. Yep. So let's say now. So I enter, let's say here, when I call from the main, I enter 3, right? So 3 is equals to 0. That's false, so it remains here. So here is 3 into call the same method. Call the same method, that means you give the bracket now. And 3 minus 1. So you remember this. This is the first call. 3 minus 1 is equals to 2. So the 2 is now passed here. So 2 is here. So now say 2 equals to 0. That's not true. So it's not returning. So what happens? So here it runs this one. So now it's 2 into, and then again call the same number. So sorry, same method, that's called calculate factorial. So calculate factorial will then go back after minusing 1 from the 2. So now it is 1. So it comes here and says 1 equals to 0. That's not true. So it comes here again. So now it is 1 into, because that's 1, right? Calculate factorial, again the same methods, but now 1 minus 1, that is called 0, so 0 passes here. So now when that 0 is here, so this is 0 equals to 0, that's true, so it returns 1. To who to return 1? So that's the place it returns 1, right? So now if you see, so this returns like 1 into 1 is equals to 1. Now 1 into 2 is equals to 2. Now 3 into 2 is equals to 6. This is how it goes backward. That it basically does the last entry first. That's what I said, it is LIFO. It's the last entry first. So last one was solved first, and then the second last, and the third last, and this, and fourth last, whatever. So this is how it happens, and I hope it makes some sense. If you got any confusion or questions, please do not hesitate to drop me the message. Take care.